What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of Corey's Garage, brought to you by Reese Motorsports, home of the Franken-7 drift car project. As you can tell, it's been a couple of weeks. I was waiting for another 3-day weekend at work, and here we are. So, just yesterday and today, I was working on finally putting the last few bins and pieces of the custom exhaust system together, and it's finally complete. The welds are not as pretty as I was hoping, but again, I'm working with a flux core Harbor Freight special welder, so it does all right. It does the job. I didn't realize welding stainless. Of course, it is, I guess, pretty thin compared to like regular, I don't know, steel exhaust pipe. It's a little bit thinner, so it was easy to put a couple holes through it. So I just had to adjust my, um, amperage and speed and all that good stuff. But I think it's pretty good. There's probably a few teeny tiny little pinholes here and there that I'll just spot weld shut once it gets all put back together. But I'll show you the finished product. Here's the Y pipe. So that's going to be coming out of the header collectors, V-bands. I got one flex joint. I was going to try to put one there on the other side, but there just wasn't enough room, and it kind of dawned on me. It's like everything in this engine is solid mounted. The engine mounts, the transmission mount. The only thing that's stock rubber, or steel rubber, I should say, is the differential front and rear mounts, which is not necessarily connected to the exhaust, anyways. But anyways, yeah. So there's the Y. There's the glass pack. It's all 3-inch. Like I said, it came out of a um, Bel Air LS swap dual exhaust kit. So it was basically like, I think, 2 or 4 90. I think it was 2 90s and 4 45-degree bends. And I just kind of cut it up and made what I needed. I added a hanger there into the middle and then 2 hangers onto the muffler. And I was finally able to utilize the muffler that my wife got me like 2 years ago. So I found a little hole in it from welding on one of these mounts earlier and patched that up. I don't know if you can see that, but again, there's a lot of slag. It's a flux core welder, but the welds are strong. I had to bend these um, custom muffler hangers several times and found a couple little holes I had to patch up. So I'll clean those up. I've got a really thick wire wheel on my cutoff wheel, so I'll clean most of that slag up, and then the same paint that I used on the headers, I'll probably just paint the exhaust. It's a high heat paint, and just to keep the welds from rusting and hopefully hide some of my bubblegum welds. So I never claimed to be a professional welder. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm very amateur, but I can sometimes I can stack dimes. It just depends on the material. Like the stuff that's not stainless probably is a lot cleaner than the stuff that is stainless. But either way, it was a $100 kit. I think the glass pack was like $20. The muffler was like $30. The V bands were like $20, and I just used the clamps that came with the exhaust kit as hangers, and then I bought some of the little rubber hanger deals today. Um, so that's all done. I was gonna start grinding all the slag and stuff off tonight, but it's 1:30 in the morning now. So um, our where our garage is really close to our next door neighbor's bedroom. So I was trying to be courteous and not make too much noise. So I tried to focus on some of our sensors that we've been messing with. So I'll try to show you guys those here now. So uh, first and foremost, here in our little plastic air intake elbow, we've got our air inlet temperature sensor and the pigtail. So that was brought to you by Rock Auto. So that's in there now. Very simple install. I just basically drilled a, how big was that? I don't have my step bit, but I think it was a 1/2 inch hole with a step bit, and it just bloom bloom went right in, no problem. I have not heat shrunk the butt connectors yet, just because I want to make sure that it's going to work before I, fully commit to it. But I got those in. I got the O2 sensors in. I got those wires ran and clipped, and I don't know if you can see it. Down there is our new cam position sensor under the water pump, so that is in. and our crank position sensor. I'll show you that and show you our, I'll get my lightsaber light. Get it down underneath here. Oh my goodness. Get down on the floor. I'm acting like I'm an old man. And normally, you guys know that I usually don't do this on my videos, so I'm trying to give a little more content, not so much yammering. But anyways, got a 102 sensor over there. One on the other header, if you can see it. I got the camera kind of upside down, pardon the shaking. So there's the other one sticking out, and the wires just kind of run up top. And then it's probably going to be really hard to see. Let's see here if I can show you. It's kind of, let's see, here's the oil pan. Let me slide up in here and not have the car follow me, hopefully. There's the Z32 starter. There's our new crank position sensor. So I do still have the Lingenfelter conversion box hooked up. I had to use one of the supplied extra ends to fit the plug. So again, I've got some butt connectors that are not heat shrunk yet, but the colors are matched up appropriately. So all my sensors are in. I'm gonna get out from underneath the car now. Ooh, goodness gracious. But yeah, it's looking pretty good underneath here. As you can see, I put some, this is the header that was really close to the frame. As you can see, it's pretty much touching. Well, the clamp makes it look like it's touching. There's a little bit of clearance there, but put the gold heat tape there, put the gold heat tape all around the starter, just to keep that from, you know, overheating, since it's right next to the exhaust. I mean, there's a collector, there's a starter solenoid, so we don't want those burning up. This is not just tape on the starter power wire. That is soldered. I just wanted to go a little further for a little heat protection and cover that up. And but yeah, so here's some of the things I did last time. There's the new dust shield for the drive shaft. And you can't really see it because it's all black, but here's the brand new custom one-piece drive shaft from our friends at Indiana Driveline. Also on this side, if you can see, I have part of the fuel line wrapped in the gold tape as well as the frame rail. I had to redo part of the fuel system a couple of weeks ago because I had the feed port on the fuel filter regulator combo and the return ports, I guess, backwards. So the fuel pump was pumping, but it wasn't getting any fuel actually up to the engine. It was just stopping at the filter. I guess it had a one-way check valve in it. So yeah, basically just flip those around, and then voila, I was getting fuel to the engine. But I guess somewhere in my installation of the intake manifold and all that good stuff, I got the fuel rails kind of kinked. So the last injector on the passenger side was dumping, spraying fuel all out. So, and then some of the fittings on the AN stuff on the fuel rails was leaking. But I got everything tightened up. Hopefully it's still good, because I did take the intake manifold off. I'll go ahead and turn this off. I did have to take the intake manifold off to install the map sensor. For some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that I wasn't going to need a map sensor because I had a mass airflow sensor. I didn't realize they utilized both in some of these engines. So that took forever. I think I ordered that on July 6th, and it was in California on eBay, and it didn't get here until last Monday or Tuesday. So that was like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Anyways, it was a long time. But that's installed. You can't see it because of how tight it is down here, but it's basically down in here next to the fuel pressure sensor that's been adapted to use the RX-7 fuel or oil pressure sensor rather. So that gauge will work. The map sensor's in there. And it was very tight. I was trying to put it on without removing the intake manifold, but that was impossible. So had to do that. And I think that's pretty much it as far as stuff we've done. I mean, obviously I want to clean up this wiring once I know it's running, but obviously my biggest goal is to have it running above all else, even just for a short time, even just to warm up a little bit. Because there's, some wires that are still pretty close to the rear, exhaust pipes and stuff, or the headers. So I don't want those to melt, obviously. And the temperature sensor that I'm trying to utilize, the RX-7 gauge, I think I misunderstood which wire it was. I had this one, which was the brown, which according to the instructions I had, you basically adapt it into the back of the passenger side head with the Mazda sensor. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully, let me see the camera. That little, oh, that's a coil pack. That little nipple thing right there. So I thought it said to just put it on that. It's a single wire system, but I don't have the right connector for that to stay on, so I might have to solder that. But again, I don't know if that's the right wire or not, because one wire just has the annoying RX-7 buzzer every time you have the key on, and one actually works the gauge. So the LS sensor is just hooked into the computer for communication purposes, but it's not going to work the gauge. So that's why I have that sensor to still operate the factory RX-7 gauge. So we're almost there. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, but I was talking with one of our old buddies from, you may know him, Barry Clapp, from formerly Tennessee Drift, and he's also part of Drift Taxi with Stu Kelly and another individual, I can't remember their name. But yeah, so I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago and told him what, the problems I was running into with this engine, and was just kind of seeking his advice, because he's done, I think, 2 or 3 S14s with LS swaps, and then a Infinity M35 with LS. So I figured he would know his way around some of these wiring issues. So I explained everything to him, and he actually got me connected with a person that does a TV show in Tennessee called Fastest Cars of the Dirty South. And so I reached out to that person, and same thing, told him what I had done, what I was working with, everything I had switched, and then using the Lingenfelter conversion box and all that. And so he said, if you can send me your ECU, I'll tune it for you, and make sure the VATS is off and all that good stuff is working. So hopefully you can plug it back in and everything works. So I shipped that out, I think, last Friday, and I talked to him yesterday, I talked to him, I think, Thursday, and he said it would be out Friday or Saturday. So I don't know if that means he's going to ship it out or he shipped it out. So hopefully it shows up tomorrow or Tuesday or sometime this week. And yeah, so that's kind of my goal, is to button up the rest of this stuff, put the exhaust back on. I've got all my sensors in now. Everything's plugged in. I just have to, clean up the intake setup a little bit. And yeah, we'll see if when the ECU gets here, if I'm getting crank signal. And if I'm getting crank signal, I know I'll be getting spark. If I'm getting spark, I know I'm getting fuel. So hopefully maybe it'll start this week. I don't know. We'll see. It's not looking too good going to LS Fest this year, just with work schedule stuff, and I only have 2 vacation days to use. I really want to go, and that was kind of my hope and plan, was to maybe drive the car there or trailer it there. My daily driver has been kind of finicky the last few days. I mean, today it was fine, and yesterday it was fine, but what day was it? Friday? Or Thursday. It died on me on the interstate, just randomly shut off while I was just creeping, but I was in traffic. Anyways, long story short, I threw it in neutral. It cranked back up. It got me to work. It got me home. It got me to working home the next day. I came home, hooked up my little scanner. I didn't have any codes other than the speed sensor that's been out for a while. And I try to not let it get below half a tank on fuel. So hopefully, it's not the fuel pump starting to die out, or if it is, hopefully it's not too expensive to throw another fuel pump in there. But anyways, since the Jeep has a tow package and everything, it would tow the car if I ever needed it to. Just with the miles that's on it, though, it makes me kind of nervous towing it, 6+ hours to Bowling Green, under load the whole time, and then the same thing back. So I don't know, but it would have been fun to, pack a bunch of clothes, or not a bunch of clothes, but pack the bare essentials in the RX-7 and head down too. But you know, something happens on the road in a project car, I got to be back to work on Tuesday. That would kind of suck. So we'll see. You know, if it's not this year, then whatever, it'll be next year. You know, we have some fun local stuff that I could cruise to, but I was really hoping to, you know, at least meet my brother there, and because he just got his Corvette back up and running finally, and I was really hoping we could, you know, we could get down there and maybe do a little drifting together or something, since I do have, you know, 4 spare tires, the old stock stuff. But anyways, we'll see. Maybe something will work out. Hopefully I'll get this thing running and driving, and you know, maybe drive it to work a couple of times just to see how it's holding up. So if it can hold up to you know, traffic in Chicago and stop and go and rough roads, I'm sure it would handle a smooth road trip down to Kentucky and back. But we'll see. But anyways, just wanted to give you guys a little heads up. Try not to yammer too much. Wanted to get down there and show you some of the stuff I've been doing on the car. The interior hasn't really changed too much. I did run, I'll show you this. I did run the brake line. Oh, I guess you can't see that. Anyways, I did run the brake line from the hydraulic handbrake to the rear calipers. I just need to finish bleeding it. And I think the clutch is pretty much bled. It's got a little pedal travel. So I might try to bleed that a little bit more. But the front brakes are good. We know that. And then, of course, some of my wiring stuff over there is just zip tied to like the bottom frame part of where the dash or the glove box goes. So then once I know it's like running and good, I'm going to basically mount everything inside the glove box and keep, you know, retain the glove box functionality for just for nice looking purposes, because it's still a street car. It's just barely a street car. But anyways, you guys take care. I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully have an update for you in a few days. Hopefully the car's running. We'll see. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.